Good afternoon, and thank you for joining our April webinar. My name is Corey Pelk. I'm the Director of Member Services for SSDA. And with me, I have Kim Zawilski and Sarah Templeton from California Montessori School, and they're going to present the webinar today for you guys. Just a couple of housekeeping items. Everyone is placed on mute, so if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to type them in the question box, and Kim and Sarah will either field those throughout the webinar or at the end. And then they also provided a handout, which you can see on, it's probably on the right side with your tools that you can download, and that's a PDF of the presentation that they're going to give. So with that, I will turn it over to Sarah and Kim.
Perfect. Hi, guys. So you should be able to see our Google Slides presentation. I'm Sarah Templeton. I work for CMP's technology department, and so I'll be going over the technical side of what we did.
Great, and I'm Kim Zawilski. I'm the principal at our Shingle Springs campus, and I'm super excited to be here, first of all, let me say that. And I've been with CMP since its inception back in 2001. Was part of that team that helped bring our charter to fruition. So we're super jazzed to be able to share where we've been and where we're going. So welcome, and we hope you enjoy this. So let me give you just a little bit of an overview of the California Montessori Project. We have 6 campuses located throughout the greater Sacramento area. As I mentioned, I'm up in Shingle Springs, and we've got campuses down in the Sacramento area, in Carmichael, Orangevale, out in Elk Grove. So we have a network of schools, and as part of that network, we have a central management organization, or what we fondly call our central admin team. We are a Montessori charter school. We are based and founded in the Montessori methodology, which we'll talk a little bit more as we go through the webinar. We've got 2,600 students, actually a little bit over 2,600 students throughout our network in grades TK, K through 8th grade. We have 183 credentialed teachers in our network, and it's kind of nice to see that bottom number there, the 230 classified support team members. We have teaching assistants working alongside our teachers in every single classroom due to the methodology that we provide.
Awesome. So here's kind of where we're at with our teaching methodology and our supplemental programs. Kim, do you want to talk about our methodology?
Sure. So the Montessori methodology is a hands-on curriculum. As I mentioned, TK through 8th grade. We really pride ourselves on adhering to the Montessori principles of small individualized group lessons. We have a beautiful set of hands-on Montessori materials that every child uses every day. So kind of an interesting transition into distance learning. But we've found a real nice marriage with what we've done with hands-on, self-directed, self-paced learning that we've obviously worked real hard, and we pride ourselves on having aligned that to the Common Core standards.
And then we also have some supplemental programs. So our classes, especially middle school, use Google Classroom. We use iReady Math and Reading in 1st to 8th grade. We have different typing programs. So the main ones would be typing.com or keyboarding without tears. And then we've signed up with Clever this year, so we use Clever to kind of tie all those programs together and take all those individualized logins and create one. So that was helpful in this transition. And then we have some supplemental programs that go in addition to that. So some schools have found different programs that work really well for their group of kids. And so for Montessori, we try to meet the child where they're at. So in addition to these, we've got some additional programs that are more individualized to like certain students or certain grade levels.
All right, so as we looked at the technology aspects there, we had a lot that we had put in place already, and I think that speaks volumes as to how we were able to put together our program with speed and efficiency. Our distance learning program really came together pretty quickly, and this is your baby. I'm gonna let you highlight these areas that we honed in on.
Yeah, so the main one I would say was we have Parent Square. And so if you're not familiar with Parent Square, it's an online communication platform. And so we've been using that for the last 2 years at our school, and it is awesome because it allows you to communicate with every single staff member, every single teacher in the network, and then also with individualized campus and classrooms and things like that. So we kind of already had that infrastructure, and that allowed us, as we had all these new updates and as things were happening, it allowed us to communicate those things effectively. We could provide resources, we could provide things like that. We also hit the ground running with staff training. So we closed on Friday and we were training by Wednesday. And so we knew on Friday it was going to close and we were trying to roll out plans. So we were trying to like learn as we went. And so we did trainings on all of the main programs to start. So we were like, okay, what are our like 5 main things that we're going to need to use for distance learning? And so that was like Google Classroom and Parent Square and creating videos and all of those things. So we started with those and then we grew as we figured out and shaped exactly what we were going to focus on. The other thing that really helped is we already use Chromebooks at a 1-to-1 ratio in grades 3 to 8. And we have them in a 4-to-1 ratio about network-wide in grades TK to 2. So what this allowed us to do is to loan out Chromebooks. So once we figured out, all right, this isn't a short-term closure, this is going to be something that's much more long-term, we did loan out Chromebooks to people. And so we set those up. We had sign-ins, we did drive-through pickups and things like that so that people could come by, keep that social distancing and grab a Chromebook and then have that available. And there are a lot of people who have their own devices to use, and so we're supporting those as well. We also had a lot of teachers that were already trained in using Google Classroom. So that transition was simpler for students and also for the teachers because they were just extending what they were already using. And then we also had those online supplemental programs we talked about. So those were all things that helped in this quick transition to distance learning.
So as we entered into this, we had a key problem that we were looking to solve, and that was how do we streamline the process for our students and parents to access this content through distant learning with consistent rigor across our entire network of schools. We had a real focus on ensuring that it would be easy for children to jump into, to access their education. We knew parents were going to be juggling their work from home, their childcare, and their children's education. So we wanted to streamline this and make it as simple for the students as possible. We did have, as Sarah mentioned, the added benefit of having Parent Square, a communication tool for our parents, already in place. We'd been using it for about 2 years, and we had been sending out all kinds of resources through Parent Square previously. So we would send out weekly classroom newsletters, signups for conferences, signups for activities. So parents were really very well versed in communicating with us through Parent Square. So as we started out our soft launch with our distance learning program that week after our closure, we started using Parent Square to transmit information, but we saw that it really required a lot of parent oversight in order to help the kids get on and access the curriculum. So we wanted to streamline it. We started, but we wanted to streamline for sure. So a couple of things that we really honed in on. We have a wonderful network of team members who really came together, and we met daily as we pulled this plan together. We had established grade level PLCs that worked together both at the campus level and then network wide. So we glommed onto that group of experts and we pulled them together. We asked them, we charged them with the idea of creating a template for lesson plans so that when a student went to our new distance learning website, they would see a lesson plan that looked easy to access. They could do a one-click and get into their math lesson. But we wanted to build consistency across the network. We wanted to emphasize not only ease of use, but a curriculum that was rigorous and true to Montessori. So we pulled that team together and they created templates for us. You'll see those in the website when we actually pop over there. We set some goals. We wanted to build connection. We wanted to establish routine for families. It's new normal that they were living. And then we also wanted to ensure that we had rigor in place. We're proud of our Montessori curriculum and the rigor that we provide, so we wanted to continue with that. So we really honed in on curriculum being delivered that would allow for connection, routine, and rigor. We also started to realize as we put this together that we have resources at different campuses. Just as we build out our campus community, certain campuses have a passion for STEM or for music or for art. So we have different specialists that work at each campus, but we started to realize right away, wow, this means that Mr. Noah, who works at our Carmichael campus, could deliver art lessons to people throughout our network. Miss Sarah happens to do a STEM program and she does a lot of work out of the Shingle Springs campus, but we were able to share that with everyone in our network. So we saw there was a real benefit as we built this to sharing resources. And a couple of things that just, I don't know, I take a lot of pride in our Montessori curriculum, how we guide our students to become independent learners, to become self-directed. It's a passion I have, and we wanted to ensure that the love for learning in this distance learning program. And we kept telling our kids, you're independent learners. You've learned how to do your work during Montessori work time independently. We're built for this. So that's how we started this, was through this set of foundational elements.
And then in addition to all of that, so we have that kind of set up, and then we have always valued professional development. So our tech team is relatively small, but I feel like we're small but mighty. So we work on a lot of professional development. And so we've always done online trainings and things like that. And so the teachers were already pretty sufficient on a lot of areas of technology, and they had been at least exposed to areas of technology that even if they didn't use it in the classroom, they were seeing it. So they were seeing those trainings and they were seeing those things. But we did hit the ground running with online trainings. And so there's 2 of us in the tech department that provide trainings. And in that first week, I think we put together like 14 trainings. And so we were training, like Jordan and I were trading off back and forth, and we were probably had a training going almost every single hour. And we offered multiple training opportunities. We would record the trainings, we would provide resource documents, and then we would do live trainings. And so they had lots of different opportunities to kind of learn how they would learn. So we're Montessori, so we believe students all learn differently, and teachers and staff learn differently too. And so we really tried to offer that. And then in addition, we opened up office hours. So for an hour, the tech team would just be available on Zoom, and people could hop in and ask us anything under the sun. Help me build this, help me do that. And we would take the time and go through that with them. And so those are really helpful. And then in addition, and Kim can probably speak to this a little bit better, but we did these skill set partnerships. So it's the ask 3 before me kind of philosophy. And so there are people at different grade levels, like middle school, they were set for this. Like they already used Google Classroom. And so they were, I mean, by Monday, they were like, we've got this, we're already set. And so they would help the lower L teachers who weren't familiar with that. And so there's kind of that partnership. So that worked out, really well. And then we had frequently asked questions and opportunities for open questions. And we use ParentsWare to consistently send out Tech Tip Tuesdays. And we do that every single week, regardless of this. But now those Tech Tip Tuesdays have been able to really, they've been able to reference exactly what we're getting questions on. So if we got 20 questions on this one thing, then our FAQs and our Tech Tip Tuesdays are going to address those exact questions with step-by-step directions and videos. And then we did a parent education webinar. We'll do more, but just one that went over, here's the whole bird's eye view of what this looks like, and here's how to use it. And then we also have a staff help desk available for parents and staff. So they email us and we respond within 24 hours with directions or a call or whatever's needed. So we're trying to meet people where they're at with that.
Great. So as we built this, we also realized that our students come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and we wanted to really support every single student in our network. So as we started to build out this program, I love that Sarah came to the table with the idea of building tech training videos for our students. So if there was something that they needed to learn how to do or operate with, that they had access to a curriculum that allowed them to pop in and have some tech training. We also had an existing reading intervention support program, and it was done in small groups. And we looked at how can we provide that through our distance learning program. We wanted to make sure that this is an opportune time to ensure that we're continuing to support our students as they're becoming emerging readers. So we built that out by deploying some of those TAs I had talked about earlier to be able to provide one-on-one support to the children in their home. And we're using some great tools for that reading intervention program. Our special education services are robust, and they're continuing to be robust. I love seeing our speech therapist do a home Zoom meeting and do her speech sessions through Zoom. We deliver a lot of support through our special education teachers in the areas of math and reading intervention. And then our occupational therapists are Zooming into the homes and providing support on gross and fine motor skills for our students. So we're seeing a real robust build out of that program as well. Our school counselors, I cannot say enough about them. We started a school counseling program just over a year ago, and our school counselors are rocking it. They are pulling together great resources for kids. They're staying connected. They're having one-on-one sessions, and they're putting a lot of resources out for parents as well. How do you talk to your children about the health emergency that we're going through. And then our student services team, which is out of our central office, has really pulled together, and they worked collaboratively with all of our sponsoring school districts and ensured that our families had access to local food services. So we built all of these resources into this distance learning website as well.
Yep. And so you're going to see that in here. So now we kind of get to the meat of our presentation. All those pieces though are so important because it kind of shows you, like, you can very clearly see the volume. And if you're a parent and you're getting these communications every single week on this volume of information, it gets overwhelming, and it's not possible to take all of that and pass it on when you're trying to juggle working or homeschooling multiple students or all of the above. And so we wanted to take all of those things and put them in one location. And so here's my quick thing. So our next step will be to go over one of our distance learning web pages. However, if you're the first person to chat in your school district's name, I'm going to build a site. And if you drop your school district name in there, your school name in there, I'll build a site based off your school. So just drop it in the chat box, and we'll just take the first person to respond. All right, so really quick with our plan, we built a site for each campus. So we have 6 campuses, they're all different. They all have very specific needs. And so we built one site that would showcase what they are doing. And then each grade level created a collaborative work plan. So we kind of use the divide and conquer model. So there might be teachers that are really strong in certain subjects. And so we wanted them to be able to dive deep into all of those subjects and not just scratch the surface, trying to like just pass off some more basic information. And so we wanted to give that option. So we use this way to allow people to focus on what they're really strong in. So we're going to go ahead and get into this distance learning website really quick. All right, so this is what our website looks like. And so you'll see we put all of the websites have headers. We wanted to showcase that it was personalized, so we used the logos. We put just like a general overview. So as we move to distance learning, CMP would like to invite all our families to access all information in one location. So we wanted to take all of those individual resources and put them together. And so you start by going through the grade levels. And so we were trying to simplify this process. So how do we make it so there's one easy way to go through? So we've got this K1. So essentially a family, if they had a kindergartner, would come in here, they'd click on their grade level. So we're going to pretend like we're a kindergartner. And so these pictures were really fun, and I'll let Kim talk about this, but we actually didn't have these pictures before closure. And obviously with its social distancing, we weren't able to take a group picture, but we wanted to showcase all of our different teachers.
Yeah, so these are all of our teachers and teaching assistants at the K1 level, and we asked each of them to send a picture to us, a socially distanced picture, and then one of our team members. It was great to see all of the skills and attributes that people have come together. One of our office's administrative assistants said, you know what, I can really pull this together, add some fun features, and build a community out of the K1 teaching photos. So I really love these. I think they're a lot of fun, and they show the distancing in operation.
Perfect. And so we've got down, so then after that, we've got like an overview of our work plan. And so our goal is to provide structure and to provide rigor to our students, but that's not going to look the same for every family. So some families are working full time and their students might do school at night, and some families are doing it in the morning first thing. And it just kind of depends. And so we wanted to provide outline and structure and rigor without feeling like parents were expected to do something in exactly the same. And so down here, we took all of the printables and the packets and the individual resources that are hosted in our Google Classroom and made a one-stop shop for printing. And so that made it simpler for families in the younger grades where they're not going to just work off of Google Classroom. We wanted them to be able to just print it or have it accessible in a very easy to use format. We have also continued to offer printing and offering packets and paperwork for anyone that needs it. And so while we are offering Chromebooks, that might just not work for some families, or they don't have internet, or they don't want to have technology in the home. And we have a little bit of a split on all of those things. And so in addition to providing these online resources, we are still providing paper resources and documents. And so if a parent requests it, we print this. And then down here, you'll see we have these weekly planners. And so all of these are links. And so they actually link to Google Classrooms for those specific topics. So if my child is in first grade, if you click on math, it will take him to his math Google Classroom with his classwork. And so students do have to be logged into Google when they click on this. And so we've kind of walked parents through, all right, here's how you log in, and then this screen stays open, and we've walked through that. But as a student could sit in here by themselves when their parents are doing other things and go, okay, I've got to do math, click on math. All right, completed that. Now I've got to go back and do language. And so it walks them through all of these things. In addition, we're still doing our iReady, we're still doing our lessons with the counselors and things like that. So these are added. And then for some families, these 5 jobs is what they can do in a day. And that will provide them that rigor and that necessary activities. But over on the right, you'll see we have all these additional options. And so if a family has extra time or a student's really passionate about certain things, we want them to have all those available. So we've got virtual field trips. We've got different online programs that our school uses. So all of these are available in here. And then for more classroom specific things and some family resources, they can scroll down. And so my child is actually in the Cedar class. And so we'll click on Cedar. And then you'll see all of our schools have some sort of theme. And so Shingle Springs is trees. And so all their classrooms are named after trees. And so I put a picture of their classroom name, and these links go directly to email these teachers. So if a parent's really looking for every way to communicate and everything that they need, they can go through here, click on this. And then we are doing daily or weekly class meetings. And so down here, we've got class meeting links. And so we want everything to be password protected. Student security is super important. And so that's where that Clever portal comes in. So when they click on this, it takes them to our Clever portal. They'll sign in and be able to enter into the meeting. But it puts it all in one place so students can learn to click. We also use Clever for our online programs, which you talked about earlier. And so if they click here, they sign into Clever, and now they have single button sign-ons to all of their online programs. And so that was huge for us because it made it, we're not now remembering 8 different logins, they're remembering 1. And so that helped a lot. And then we also, as a tech department, like I think it went out, no, actually not I think, it went out the Monday that school closed. So on Monday, after school closed, we had the announcement on Friday, we sent out an overview that gave parents the information for every single program, how you logged into it and what it did. And so we wanted parents to start off successful. And so we did start with that, and it went out, and it's specific to the grade level. So if they're in kinder and they use these programs, it's on there. If they're in 2nd and 3rd and they use these programs, it's on there. So we created those for all the campuses. And then it basically just gives them an overview. So you can find all your resources in these 3 places, and they're all linked. So if they want to go back to the work plan, it's going to take them back to here with that classroom work plan. They can go to Google Classroom, they can go to Clever. So we took it and put everything for that grade level together. I'll just do a quick pause. Do we have any questions on this so far? I haven't seen anything come up.
No, we don't have any questions, but it looks like Kelseyville Elementary was the first one to get their name in.
Perfect. I will write that down. All right. So the last portion of this I'm going to show you guys is, while school is super exciting and we really want our kids to get the academic rigor, they are home, and even at school, they're going to be able to do these student enrichments, and they're going to do other things above and beyond the day-to-day school. And so that's a big it's important to our school. And so we wanted to showcase those as well. So they'll go through all of these, and then you can see on the bottom, they can it's directly on the classroom page to create that single tie. So they can go to family resources, but we also have this nice little drop down of all of the family resources here. And so we have our counselors. The counselors have their pictures, they've got their welcome message, so it's all here and available. And then they've just created these pages and pages of resources. And so these are all resources that help with specific topics. And so these are online counseling resources. They also added specific resources to COVID-19. So there are families and students that this is a big thing for them. And so it's causing different anxiety levels for different people. And so we populated all of these things here. So it gives you things to help, not only just for students though, but like, how do we help our families? Because there are parents that are dealing with this too, and they have to be able to help themselves and then also help their kids through it. So we wanted to put that all easy access. We also have special education resources. We're working on actively building that out. And so it's got all the resources for all of the different special education things. And then student enrichment. So as Kim said, we have different passions around the campus. And so one of our tech department team members also runs our library program. And so she's very passionate about that. So she compiled all sorts of resources and videos and things for library. And we even have a virtual like storytelling where they can click on a QR code and it will read them stories. And then we've got PE. And so we've made those into Google Classrooms, and we also have some overview and some lessons on the website. For STEM, I've been posting a weekly STEM challenge, and then we also have videos and additional projects and things for people that are wanting to help out in that area. And then we've got VAPA. And so I'm gonna click on this because you'll see we've got 3 VAPA teachers network-wide, and they all have different passions, which is really fun. So we've got an art teacher at Carmichael campus that like art is his jam, and his name's Mr. Noah. And then we've got Mr. Kevin, who is our drama guru. And then we've got Miss Allie, who is our music lesson person. And it's really cool because these truly are passion projects for these people. So before we were even like, hey, can you make some resources? I was getting emails from them going, here's our resources, let us know where to put them. Like they were like, we miss our kids, we want to pour into them. And so that was really fun. That was a huge thing. So we've got that showcased on here. And then, you know, I've got tech support, we've got student services, and then we made a tips and tricks for distance learning. So our general ed behaviorist created this really dynamic document that went over all of the key tips and tricks for dealing with your students at home, because there are different varying behaviors and there's different varying anxiety levels and things like that. And so each of these actually goes into a specific topic and it gives you examples and things like that. And so we built this dynamically into our website. So it was just, like I said, the goal was to take all of these resources and really put them in one place. All right, so Corey, want to check for more questions, and then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start building Kelseyville a website.
Sure, we got a couple of questions. So the first is, are your speech therapists and occupational therapists meeting children inside their homes, not virtually?
They're
No.
meeting them virtually, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing them like in their homes through Zoom. So they're using Zoom, we're using Zoom, and they're meeting with them virtually. Yeah.
Perfect. And then the second question is, I'm wondering on your grading protocols, and if you included this in your parent information. Also, is your support staff TAs working from home to support students, and who oversees their work and support to individual students?
Gotcha. So let me touch on the second part of that real quick. Like the teaching assistants are working from their homes. Sometimes they do work out of a classroom environment if there is a need for some specific resource or material. But we've just basically created Google Sheets that the people working from home just log in generally what they're doing and approximate times and keep us apprised of what it is they're working on. And it allows me as the principal to balance. If I see it looks like somebody is overloaded and might need some support, they've got more students that they're supporting through a reading intervention program or something, it allows me to then balance that workload. So we monitor that and really operate. Our teams are all hardworking. We don't do it because we're worried that someone might not be pulling their weight. We do it because it allows us to help balance and keep workload manageable. So grading, we've been spending quite a bit of time working with the Department of Education on what the guidelines are with respect to grading. We have really embraced the do no harm. We do not want to provide our children with any kind of a punitive grade that could reflect on a barrier or an equity access issue. So we are providing our students all kinds of great opportunities for their learning, and we're supporting them and monitoring them, but we are not offering letter grades at this point in time. Does that answer that question?
I would think so. If it doesn't, feel free to write. Oh, I just got a yes, so yes.
Perfect. And then I just wanted to add to that really quick. The TAs, which is so fun, have been the first people to hop on a training. So I will get messages like I post the tech training guideline, and we actually have a schedule that I share that has registration links for all the trainings. And they're the first people to email and be like, hey, can I join this training? Or my teacher's not strong in this area, I want to support them with it. Is it okay if I come to this, even though it might say like it's for teachers? And so it's been awesome because not only are they growing tremendously in these areas, they really are offering that support, and not, I wouldn't say counseling, but they're being able to fill in for their teachers or maybe they're struggling because teachers are already inundated with things. And so they've been able to be that maybe program specialist in the classroom. And so that's been really helpful. All right, any more questions?
Nope, not at this time.
Perfect. All right, so I should have started over. All right, so when you go into Google Sites, you're gonna have, let's go back. So you're gonna have 2 ways to build sites. You can build them in the older version of Sites, or you can build them in the new version of Google Sites. The weird thing is, in the new Google Sites, the only thing you lose is building tables. And so for some reason, that feature did not translate over. But new Google Sites, it's really easy to build these sites dynamically and in a more updated manner. And so we decided to go that route. And that's why you'll see all of our work plans are embedded. And actually what that gave us is now they can use that work plan, but they can click on it and open it and have that file. And so it ended up being a really positive thing. But if you're wondering what the main difference, you will notice that that's one of the things that we changed. So we're going to go to the new Google Sites because that is how we built all of our websites. And so you'll go here. Normally people will not have anything here because it's not a common thing that everyone uses. I did not have a single Google site before this closure happened. But in the bottom right, you'll click on the plus button and it's going to take you to a Google site. Doesn't get a lot easier than that. So we're going to start, we're going to say, Corey, did they say, are they Kelseyville Elementary?
Let me just double check. Yes, Kelseyville Elementary.
Okay. So we're going to build for Kelseyville Elementary.
And it would be our Kelseyville Elementary School District.
Cool. All right, so we've got Kelseyville Elementary. And so honestly, a lot of what it is, I store all the stuff for ours. Like I obviously keep like our logos and things like that. But the cool thing is you can add in pictures and logos dynamically from the internet. So we're going to start off because normally when you have a website, you're going to start with a theme, right? So you probably have some colors and things that you use. I don't actually know what those are. So I'm going to go ahead and look that up really quick. Elementary. All right, hopefully I have the correct one. So it looks like Kelseyville's using some purples and some colors like that. So I'm going to go back in here. And the first place to start is this themes. So if you go up to this upper right, you've got insert, pages, and themes. I love Google because it's true through all of their programs. They keep it really simple, which is super awesome. So we're going to go through here. If we like this background, it's going to make it purple. So there you go. I've got Kelseyville Elementary. It's purple. You'll also see there's a lot of other programs. We decided to use Diplomat. We liked that formula, that portion better. And the cool part was, so we got this idea. I built these sites, right? I built like a template. And then we met collaboratively with all of the principals and all of the deans. And we sat for 2 hours and we're like, all right, where do we move things? Let's get a final template and let's approve it. So we got the meat in there and then we worked together to come up with like what works best overall at a district level for all of us. And once we did that, I basically started duplicating them rapid fire. So I created 6 websites in a week. That's my claim to fame for closure is I made 6 websites through Google Sites in a week. And so once we did the template, we basically customized it. So not all schools are the same. They don't all have the same colors. They have different logos. And so once we got that original template, I duplicated and customized it for 6 different sites. I put in all of their individual classrooms. I put in all their individual teachers. We put in all of their individual logos and pictures and classroom names and all of that stuff. So we basically just duplicated that in a customized way. So we're going to go ahead and start with Kelseyville Elementary. Let's just go with a little harder to. There you go. Kelseyville Elementary School District. We're going to go with that. And then we can pick our color still. So we're going to stick with purple because that's their color. And then you can go in here and this can be changed. So if you want to do a change image, we can change the background. So you can upload a custom image. Like if you had a picture of your school you wanted as the background, or you had like your banner on your website that you already kind of use as the background, you can upload something custom. You can also just select an image and they've got some stock things. So we're going to pick, I feel like this looks like a distance learning thing, or at least it looks like a distance working thing, because I'm pretty sure my desk right now is covered with computers and I've got my coffee and it seems appropriate. So we're going to pick that for the background. So we've got our background. The other nice thing it does is it automatically adjusts for readability. So if you pick like a really bright yellow color, well, yellow and white, the contrast is not going to work. So Google will go in and automatically darken that color so that the readability is there. And that will also help with some of your 508 requirements. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the section 508, but that's like the rules for accessibility for everyone to access websites. And so we try to always keep that in mind. And so this is one of those things that will darken that to help. All right, so now that we've got our banner, you can choose to enter a site name. We actually chose to delete that because we felt like it looked a little overkill because you've already got the banner. So we can put Kelseyville in here. If you decide you just don't want it here, you still want a site name. So you're gonna want to put it the first time and then you can just go ahead and delete it. And the cool thing is it doesn't reappear and people won't see this enter site name, but for us, we thought it was just a cleaner look. So now let's get some content. All right, so I'm gonna insert, here's a cool thing. So I can insert a text box and start from scratch. I can insert an image and just start from there. I can embed a video or a file code, or I can insert anything from my Google Drive. But most of the time we just want some really easy to read content and we want it formatted for us. So if I like any of these layouts, I can go ahead and click on it and now I've got a layout already ready to go. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select an image. So I don't have Kelseyville's logo on my computer, but I do want to include it. So I'm going to go ahead and do Kelseyville Elementary. And we're going to hope that when I do a Google search, their logo comes up. Not looking like that's going to happen. I don't think it's this. All right, we're just going to pretend like that is their logo. All right, I don't even know what that is. All right, so we're going to say like, welcome to distance learning.
Hey, Sarah,
Yes.
just so you know, I was just corrected. It is actually just Kelseyville Elementary School, not the district. So it's just a teacher on here, I think, from the school.
Perfect. Kelseyville Elementary School. And whoever volunteered to do this, if you want to send me like your classroom name and your name as a teacher or any of that information, I can start adding that in here too. We've got welcome to distance learning. And then we use a lot of buttons. So I kind of picked some, you don't want to make it so there's so many different types of content and different pictures and things like that that it's hard to read. We wanted to try to keep it really clean and simple. So we use a lot of buttons. And so we went in here, you'll add a button. So we're going to put Kelseyville district site. And maybe we're going to link, I cannot type. Maybe we're going to link to that Kelseyville district site. So I'm going to go over here, I'm going to copy my link. So you can link to anything. You can link to a document, you can link to a website, you can link to a Google Drive file, you can link to another page. You have lots of choices. So we're going to go ahead and insert. And so we've got this Kelseyville district. So say they like the purple and purple's like great, but they didn't want to have quite as much purple. They can customize their colors as well. So if you go to themes, under here you have the font style, and then you can change some of these colors in here. So you can pick the different colors that you want.
Sarah?
Right, so yep.
Just got a request if you could change the picture, because they said that's actually the coronavirus picture. If you could change that to a wolf, I guess that'll be appropriate for the school. And
I
then
was
there
like, what
was
is that? It does look like a sickness. I probably should have put that two and two together.
So a wolf should do us some good.
There we go.
Then, somebody suggested, oh, because you asked for a classroom name. So they said Mrs. Murphy's Fabulous Fifth Graders with an exclamation point.
I love that. That makes me happy. Okay. All right. I'm going to go here. So now I've got like a very generic homepage, right? We've got links to their district site. So now they probably have grade levels. They're elementary, so we're going to just assume it's K to 5. So they might, most district schools are like one grade level per class. We operate in grade level groupings, and so that's why ours is K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we're going to go ahead and add in a kindergarten page. All right, kindergarten. We're going to go through and add a first grade page. And here's the best thing about Google. So I really did, and I'm not just saying that, build 6 websites in a week, but Google makes it so easy. So let's say that their classroom is a kindergarten page. Can you repeat the name on that? The Fabulous.
Sure, so I got 2 of them actually. So since you're going into, you want to do a second grade page real quick?
Yep. Okay, second grade.
And the name for this one is Mrs. O'Neill's, and that's O apostrophe capital N-E-I-L-L apostrophe S.
Okay.
Totally, but it's T-O-A-D-A-L-L-Y. Awesome second graders.
This is so fun. I'm assuming you guys do animals or something like that. Totally. All right. Totally awesome second graders. Is it like a frog or a toad? Is that the picture I should pick?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling right now.
Hopefully I don't accidentally pick like a disease picture. Whoops.
Yes,
All right.
yes. I just got a confirmation. There's definitely a toad involved.
All right. So say we like this picture and it's a toad. The other cool thing is once you go in here, so I've done this because I picked all the pictures for campuses. And I mean, Kim was one of the campuses. They went through it with a fine tooth comb, and her AA was like, well, actually, I like this picture better. So the really cool thing is you can make changes to any of these. So rather than deleting the picture and having to put in a new picture and change the format, you can just click on these 3 dots and click replace image. So we can pick a different toad. We'll go to select image. You can do it by URL. So if you go into Google and you find a picture, you right click on it and choose copy image URL. You can paste it in here and use that exact picture. It's totally up to you. We're going to go back to Google image search and we're going to do a toad. Well, I don't know. Let's pick a toad in the forest. Oops, there we go. All right, so now I've replaced it. And then you can edit and change how much you want to see and how you want these to look. You will notice though that you don't have complete customization. They operate off a grid, which is how they allow you to create so much so simply with no code. So you do have to follow these grid lines. So it has to go in like a certain place. You can't just put it anywhere you want. The other thing that's interesting, just because it's trying to make it simple. So the other thing that's interesting is everything always goes to the top. So if you have a lot of content and you don't want a picture and then a gap and then things over here, you have to kind of stack that and move it around. And I'll show you how to do that. So we're gonna say we've got Mrs. O'Neill's totally awesome second graders. And then maybe they want to add a class picture. So they could put their class. You probably won't, just realizing that, because it's going to be a public page. But you could put, like, if you have media releases, you could put pictures, or you could put a picture of the teacher. They could also, so say that this school's using these online programs. So we're going to say they're using iReady. And then we'll do like login.iready.com. All right, we're going to click OK. So now we've got these buttons. So they could have all these resources and say they want to actually explain what these are. If you go over here, we'll click text box and we could add online programs. So the other nice thing is it keeps it really consistent, so you can't kind of end up with funky formatting, because all the fonts are exactly the same, all the stuff is the same, which means you'll end up with a very clean website with very little effort. So we'll click on online programs, we're going to center it. I'm going to say this is a heading, so I want it a little bigger, and then I can just drag and drop it above my online programs. And here's the other thing. So if you want to make multiple sections all together, you just have to drag and drop. So right now, these are all separate sections, but they go together. So I might want to move this up. So if I click on this section, this little thing right here, and drop it under, I've now combined these, which means when I edit and make adjustments, it's making it to the whole thing. So now I can go in here and I can scooch this in. And so you'll see it all goes and moves together. That makes it really clean and really simple. And then I can add any other buttons in here that I want. So I can add,
Sarah, I got a request. Apparently they use, let's see, lexiacore5.com. You want to, there's a couple other ones they listed, but let's use that one as an example.
All right, so I'm gonna put in Lexia Core 5. Hope I'm spelling that correctly. If I'm not, just let me know. .com. All right, and we're gonna call this Lexia Core 5. So basically just put in your link, you put it in here and click insert. So here's the really cool thing. I just wanna make sure I get to this. So you have a couple choices. So let's say we've got kindergarten, first and second grade. And we want to have this portion of the content, but not the whole page on every single web page. You're not going to want to go in and recreate this content. Like I did it for like 30 pages. I don't want to do that 30 times. So if I go in here and click on this whole section and I hit Control-C, I can now go into each of these pages and hit Control-V, and it's going to go over to every single page. So that just saved me a ton of time, because I can hit Control-V 30 times in like a minute. But you can't recreate this 30 times in a minute. So it's a huge time saver. The other cool thing is you can customize it. So say that I make this awesome template and I really want all of my, maybe there's 8 second grade classes and I want all of my second grade classes to look very similar, but not exact. So I can go into this pages here. I'm gonna click on these 3 dots and I'm gonna click duplicate page. But now it's obviously not gonna be the same class. So I'm gonna call this Mrs.
Actually, I got a request for that.
Hey, I like that. This is awesome.
It's Ms. MS period Patalano. So P-A-T-A, L as in Larry, A, N as in Nancy, O, apostrophe S, top notch second grader. So it's another second grade page.
This is so fun. Oh my gosh. I love that you guys have all these like little taglines. It makes me happy. All right. So we're going to click on that. So now you'll see it's still going to say second grade and this is still going to be the same, but I don't want to type it 3 times. So I'm going to go in here and I can just double click and I can do Control-C. And now I'm going to do Control-V, and I've saved all of my formatting and I've just put in my new title. I can change this. So I don't know do we have an animal for this?
No animal.
All right. Let's say, I don't know what to search for top notch. I don't know. Owl seems smart. Let's pick an owl. All right. So we're going to say that this is, let's do that one. Okay. All right, so I've got our top, so I can basically go in and switch all of these things. I've already got all of my content. And so this is what I did, is I would make one for the grade level. I'd make it perfect. I'd copy it until all the classes were made. And then I would go in and I would make the changes. And so the last thing I want to show you is you'll notice at the top, every single page I have created is showing. It's also showing in a really weird order. Most likely we do not want all of these individual things showing in this manner. So we probably wanted to go kindergarten, first grade, second grade. If I click on this, I can literally just drag it and drop it in between K1, 2. And you'll see now at the top, my menu has matched. I also may want Miss Padalano's to be a sub-page of second grade. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this in here. And now I've made this folder so I can have this drop down. I may also only want that main page to show. So I can click on this, on these 3 dots. Here I can make it, there's a lot of changes you can make. But you can also hide it from your navigation. So now it's gone. It still exists, but it's not showing up on this navigation. So I'm going to go back to our home page. We've got our kindergarten, first grade, second grade page. So now we're going to want to link to these pages because we want an easy way for our families to get to here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to insert, and I'm going to add a button. And I'm going to call this one kindergarten. All right, so now if I go down here, and I click, you'll see all the sites I have available. I can link to other things, but these are very easily available. So I'm gonna click on kindergarten, I'm gonna click insert, and then here's the other thing. I want all these buttons to be the same size, and I don't wanna have to edit them and adjust them one at a time. So the cool thing is if I take this and I just drop it right under here, it's gonna match it. And I can add as many things as I want. So now say I decide I actually want this to be smaller. Oops. Click on here, let's do smaller. So I'm gonna make these like this. I'm gonna put them over here. And then I wanna add, it's kind of extra small. And then I wanna add in an image. So I can go in here, I can upload an image. And then let's pick, I'm gonna pick a logo. Here we go. All right, so say these were our online programs and I had this fancy logo that I wanted to put. So now I want these to be all easily manipulated together. So if I drag and drop, it's gonna drop right next to my thing. And so now these are all in one section. So you guys see that's kind of like the gist is it's all drag and drop. It really is super simple. You can customize it any way you want and you can like stack things and move them around. And so and the other thing is Control Z is your best friend. I messed up a lot of things where I moved them around and things would be funky, but it'll track your changes. So just like a Word document, you can go in and just do Control Z and it'll go back to the way it was before, which allows you a lot of flexibility to try things out and not have to worry about, whoops, now what? You can just undo it or you can copy and paste or move it around. So that's the gist. When you are done, you do have to click publish. This is a great thing because once you go live, you still want to be able to make weekly changes without them automatically populating. So you do have to wait until you click publish. But once you're done, you'll click publish. When I click publish, I'm going to get under here, I'll get my public web URL. For settings, you can make it. So what I did originally is I published it, but I made it so only the principals and deans could see it. And so we could use it to update and edit and make changes and work on it collaboratively, but I didn't want parents to see it yet. So if you go in here and change this, you can change it so only specific people can view the published. And so then you go in here, I'm going to add Kim to this one. So I'm going to say, Kim, I want you to view. So I've got Kim in here. I can make it so she can edit and she could help me collaborate. I have our tech team, we're all collaborating, but I can also change it so she can only view. And so that gives you the ability to showcase and share what you're doing without worrying about too many hands in the pot and things kind of getting messed up. And I think, like I said, if you learned anything from this, it was that collaboration was so key. So all of our departments worked together. We kind of came together as one unit, and that allowed us to create all of these resources in a very short amount of time. All right, any questions?
So first I have a comment. Somebody just wants to let you know that they commend your work. This is extraordinary work and we wish we had this type of IT support.
Oh, thanks.
And then let's see, the question was, is there a way and how do I post videos to Google Classroom?
Oh, so not the website, the classroom.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, they said Google Classroom. They might be referring to this though.
So I'm going to start with Google Site because it really is super simple. So there's a couple ways. If you pull videos, like we don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? Like we did not want our teachers to have to create every single lesson they use because there's some really awesome lessons out there. They did do a lot of custom lessons, but just not all. So you can embed from YouTube. So you'll see over on the right, you can click on YouTube. I don't know why, I don't even watch cat videos, but I always just think cat videos are a safe bet. So I'm going to look for cat videos. And then we're going to go in here. And so I can pick a video. I can click on this and click select. And now that's embedded. Now I've got my video in here and I can drag and drop and move this around. You can also embed custom videos. And so the best step is just to drop them into Google Drive. We've used Google Drive to house everything, which has made this so simple because people can share things with me when they're done and I can add it straight from there. So I'm going to pull up a VAPA video. So what Kevin Mines did was he shared a Drive folder with me. So you go up here, click on Drive. And then I'm going to go to shared with me. And so there's probably a lot of things that have been added since then. So we'll go ahead and pick something. But if you just pretend that this top thing was a video, all I have to do is click on this and click insert, and it will add the video. You have to give it a little bit depending, like we had one video that was like 12 minutes long. It took a little longer for that to load, obviously, so I had to wait a little while, but it will support it. So we were able to post it. And then if you, any video, you can add and make bigger, you can make smaller. The cool thing that we did, if you go to on our VAPA page, is we made it so that they were small, but the students can make them full screen. So we were able to make a very nice layout with all of the videos easily available on one page. But if they want to participate, they just open it up widescreen. So is that what you were looking for? Did you really want Google Classroom? Hopefully that answered the question.
Let's see, they didn't say, so we'll wait and see if they respond. Another question, do your teachers each manage their own edits once it's published, or do they send updates, links, lesson plans, and schedules, that sort of thing, to one particular person to upload and edit the site?
Yeah, so I manage the changes. So myself and my team of 3, this has kind of been my project, this is like my my baby for the last couple months. I was telling Kim, I'm like, we could talk about this all the time because this is what we've been like living for like the last month. But essentially what happens is every week on Thursday, teachers get me all of their changes for the following week. So today would be the day they can post. I mean, I don't care if they send to me at 1 o'clock in the morning. I hope that nobody's up doing that, but anytime today is totally fine. And then tomorrow morning, my first project is going through and updating all of the changes to make sure that's completely ready. And then in the afternoon on Friday, I'm going to click publish. And now all the work for the following week is now on the website and ready to go. Any changes or updates and links. And then parents now have the weekend to plan. Because, I mean, as much as we want to say students can do this themselves, and they can do a lot of it themselves, the parents are taking on that burden of how do we schedule this? What's our week looking like? And so we wanted to give them that weekend to really be able to make those changes and come up with their schedule. So it gets posted Friday evening. And so, yeah, I make all the changes. They all run through me. A lot of the changes, though, moving forward, now that we've got the structure up, are going to be small. So the work plan might change with a couple links, but for the most part, we built them to last. So we're not going to have to change all the little things because they're changing their Google Classrooms on their own rapidly. And so all the time they get new assignments and things like that are going posted in there. But the changes to here, anything, if they're like, I don't like the picture you picked for me, or I want this font to be larger, or they can make any of those change requests and they either email it to me or we have Google Drive where they just share it with me and I populate them on the website. So that happens Thursday to Friday every week.
So to continue to that question, the same person asks, if we don't have the tech support for those updates, can teachers manage their own pages? More specifically, can edits be limited by page, or are the share permissions all or none for the whole site?
The share permissions are all or none. So you can either have editing permissions or you can have view only permissions. There's not a lot of, I'll go in here and show you, but when you go to share with others, there's not a lot. I mean, you literally can edit or you can view. So you can't like pick certain pages. I feel though, like you'd be amazingly surprised how much a team can come together. And I think like our network is proof of that. So we've got network from everywhere. We didn't choose to have tech update it because we were worried about teachers doing it. We just wanted to take that off of their plates. They're not used to Google Sites. It's really simple. And so it's definitely something a teacher can do. But this has kind of become like my passion project. So this is, it's like my service to the teachers while they're teaching is to update this for them. And like I said, the bulk of the build was really challenging. But if you build it in the way where you're linking to Google Classroom or you're linking to that more customizable site, they are minimal. And so you can't say like you can edit this page. It's either the site or not the site. That is the one thing. But I think that depending on how big the site was and what you did, you'd be able to make it work.
And it looks like we have time for one more question. Somebody had an additional question for the first video question that you gave. How do they put a video into Google Drive?
Yeah, I'll show you that really quick. So mind my mess of a Google Drive right now. Usually it's much more organized. Right now it's just a mishmash of stuff. But Google's great because you can literally just drag and drop, or you can upload. So if you want to drag and drop, you'd open up your file folder on your computer. So I could take any of these things, video, document, anything under the sun, and I can just, I can just click on it and drop it in to my drive, and you're going to see it's going to copy in and it'll upload in the upper right-hand corner. If I want to upload a video in a more direct way, just to find it, I can click on New. I can upload an entire folder of videos. So if I have like 27 videos on my computer and I need all of them for my Google site, you don't have to reinvent that. You can click Folder Upload, and you can click on, this is actually my training resource document. I can click on here. This does have, not 27, but has a lot of videos in it. I can click Upload, and it'll upload all of my files and my file structure. So if I have 3 folders inside that, it'll actually upload all of that, and it keeps it nice and organized. So that's really helpful. And then I can also do the onesie twosies. So if I just had a file, I can click New File Upload. So those are kind of the 3 ways you can upload those documents or those resources.
Excellent. And then the last comment from somebody, they just said teachers could have a central website with links to their individual sites that they could edit. I'm not sure if that's a question or not, but I think it pertains to some of the stuff you talked about already. I don't know if you want to address that real quick.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. So they are correct in that. The one issue that I see with that, so what whoever posted this is saying is that you can essentially, every teacher could create their own site. And so they would create their own site, they would have their own logos and colors and themes, and then you would just have a link from the district webpage that maybe tech built to each of those individual sites. And you totally can, but just know that colors and fonts and things like that could be completely customized and updated and changed. And so you would have to, I mean, some people might not, it might not matter. Like it might not be a big deal to have every classroom have something that's custom to them, but you don't have control then over those themes and those changes as a group. So it's totally up to you guys, but yes, what you could do if you wanted to limit editing capabilities is you could have, like, instead of having Elk Grove, Shingle Springs, Capital, I could have 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, or like the totally awesome 2nd graders, and then I can't remember, the other 2nd grade class, and they would each have their own, over here, and then you would just link from that main page to those sites. So that is totally an option.
Fantastic. Well, Sarah and Kim, I just want to say thank you so much for spending an hour with us today, showing us all this. I'm sure this was a big help to everyone. I'm not sure how you want to get that site to. I wrote down the name of the attendee that did request that. So if you want to send me that offline, I can email that over to her.
Yeah, I can send that to you. Well, honestly, it would be, if the person's still on, it'd be easier if I just shared it with them so they could have it directly through Google. It would be simpler, but I can send the link as well. So if it's okay to give me the email, I'm happy to share it directly with them.
I have that, so I can get that to you, no problem.
Cool, perfect.
And then Corey, let me just say, you know, I had a great conversation with our leadership team the other day, and we talked about what are some of the big takeaways that we had from building this whole thing. And a couple of things came up. We talked about how important it is to stay connected with our family. You know, we're looking at distance learning, and the word distance implies something there, but we want to stay connected. We wanted to ensure that we also really honed in on finding out, are the families having any difficulties? Are there any things that we can help with respect to barriers and supporting our families? And then we wanted to make sure that we were doing community building activities. And there's been, you guys have all seen them. There's so many fun things that people are doing. We've got a fun distance learning Facebook page where kids can share photos of what they're doing in their homes, what activities they're working on. We've had so many creative videos from our teachers just sharing great wishes. And we're doing a staff video tomorrow that's just a, hey, we made it through, you know, our first official week of distance learning. So we're doing lots of things to stay connected. And these were some of the big takeaways that we had is we've got to really hone in on keeping our families supported and feeling like they're connected to our community. And then the teaser at the very end was several people said, everyone needs a Sarah Templeton. And Sarah, you just rocked this thing. You have pulled it together so beautifully. And our whole team just said, wow, what Sarah has done with this and how she supported us and how every time we turned a corner, she said, oh, I can do that. I don't want to put another burden on the teacher's plate. So kudos. Everybody needs a Sarah Templeton.
I
Yes,
agree.
thank
I
you
bet
both.
everybody else would agree too.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for having us, Corey. It was nice. It was fun to do this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. We truly appreciate it. We have recorded this session, so I will be posting it on the website probably later this week or in early next. So if you want to watch it again, if you feel free to still, before I hit stop, feel free to download that handout. If you haven't or you forget to, email me and I will be happy to send that out to you. Thank you again so much for joining us for today's webinar and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Corey.
Bye-bye.